Thank you. I'm really concerned about what we are talking about today because I think it shows that the government is ignoring the lessons learned from the people who are affected by this, who went before a royal commission and told their stories. That is of deep concern when a government this new has forgotten how to listen, has forgotten how to connect with the very people that the government, and we are the government that was responsible for state care, the government caused that harm. And it has immediately turned around and done something that is offensive to those people immediately. It's only 18 months in, and this is where it's at this incredibly insensitive level. What people said to that inquiry was that they had absolutely no faith in the current system. They said it wasn't independent, it wasn't informed by the trauma that they'd been through. It did things like delayed matters, it belittled them and minimised what was going on. We had an issue come up last year where we were talking about the role of the state when there was a prosecution on issues of sexual abuse and this kind of violence, and how the Crown prosecutor had looked at that situation, the Solicitor General, and tried to minimise what had happened, denied claims, because that's what they thought their job was as Solicitor General. That is what happens when you don't have anyone independent in a role, when you confuse your role. That is what happens, and it caused so much harm to so many people. And we had a Royal Commission that did incredibly good work, and it came out with a finding. It said that what had to replace this system was a survivor-led, survivor-designed redress system. Now, I have heard the Minister talk about how today she said it was only that we were trying to create one single entity system and that was too difficult in the time frame. I've heard another Minister say that we can't wait for the perfect system. I don't think many survivors in this country expect the perfect system. I think they expect a half-decent system, a system that doesn't re-traumatise them. And it's our job, because we lead this country, to do a better job of giving them what they need, because we, the state, hurt these people, and we did despicable things. This is not something that we can take lightly. This is what we're here to do, to lead. So I reject the characterisation of this debate and the objection of the opposition to what has been announced as somehow looking for a perfect solution. I reject that. It is really important that we face this practically. Practically, we needed a new system. And the reality is that this government is not going to give a new system that actually helps people and doesn't harm them to the survivors of this terrible atrocity, because that's what it is. It's an atrocity. We need a system that doesn't traumatise people. Now, I went to see something recently. It was the Pahutakawa Centre. It's a clinic that deals with people who have been raped, basically, and sexually abused. And one of the doctors said to me, the thing about this system is people come out a little bit healed. That is the measure that we should be looking at. We should be trying to create a system that brings about a little bit of healing for people we have seriously harmed. I just wanted to end with a statement that I read from a person reacting to the coverage on this. It was a person in a newsroom article. He said, torture and abuse, including being repeatedly abused by the legal system, and a resultant lifetime of despair is worth $30,000. Actually, that's for very few of the claimants. They mainly would get 3. I might be a little naive, although I don't believe so, but put this up against $2.9 billion tax break for landlords, and it doesn't appear that this government has any moral compass. Thank you.
Honourable Louise Upston.
I mean, at this moment, I'm going to sound like a broken record. I mean, again, the current system is not adequate. Maria Meno Kapakingi is correct when she said that what this government is doing by putting more funds into the current redress system is equivalent to putting bandages over bullet wounds. Yeah. And Helen White, she brings up the same point that I did about it's not about having a perfect system. It's about following the recommendations that the Royal Commission put through and following through on what Luxon said about bringing about a new redress scheme this year. Preferably, that is, no, I'm not even going to say preferably. That must be an independent Crown entity, not a departmental public body. Okay, that is survivor-led, right? Again, I've put the link to the establishment of a new Peritumu Torowhanui scheme, right? So people can look at that and they can see the recommendations for themselves, right? It's about following through on stuff and looking after the people who have been abused by the state.
Yeah.